All right. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us again for another round of Ask WooRank all of your SEO questions. I'm Courtney. I'm going to be doing all of the question moderating and putting the questions onto the video. So anybody that joins late will be able to see actually what the heck we're talking about. And then Sam, Adam, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yeah, sure. So my name's Sam Gooch. I'm the head of technical SEO at WooRank. I've been working for WooRank for about the last 5 years, and I've also got a lot of experience in kind of in-house positions and working at agencies. So hopefully I'll be able to answer all of your questions.
G'day, my name's Adam, and I head up the services team here at WooRank. So we work with clients directly to try and do all the sometimes awkward and hard little fixes on your website to get it up to speed. And that's me.
Okay, awesome. I see we already have a couple of people putting on questions on the chat, which is a good start. But as you probably know, we've been collecting questions all month long. So we're going to jump in with the people who have submitted their questions beforehand, and then maybe we'll pepper in some live questions to keep Sam and Adam on their toes. All right, good. So question one, I'm going to put over to you, Adam. This is from Oniyiga. And she wants to know what WooRank is all about and what is the need for it. Great way to start off this conversation.
Perfect. Okay, well, in short, what WooRank is a collection of web intelligence tools that, when you bring it together, provides you, I kind of see it provides a single dashboard with a lot of information in a single place. So rather than having to, go to one application or another or log into Google Analytics and then Search Console and kind of try and get your information from your website in 100 different places, WooRank really just kind of rolls that up into a nice, tidy package. It also adds SERP tracking abilities, so that's the ability to track your rankings over time for keywords. And I guess one of the most important things that WooRank offers, especially from my point of view, is the guidance, the guides, and all the information and the training. So WooRank really just kind of brings it all together into one nice spot. And I think anyone doing SEO on their website really needs to simplify their approach to SEO, especially at the beginning.
Yeah, and of course, right now with everything that's going on, like you do want to be in front of your online customers, and WooRank is a great way to get started with that. Okay, let's jump into the second question from Ruben. This is a bit more technical, so Sam, I'm going to ask for your expertise on this one. So Ruben wants to know how he can add SEO content to his homepage without it being visible on the front end, but only read by Google crawling bots. So say he wants to put a large image on the homepage and add HTML text in the back end, but only visible in the HTML source code. What do you say to Ruben?
Okay, thanks for that, Ruben. So yeah, this is a bit of a funny one really, because you should only you should always allow Googlebot to see whatever content is going to be available on your website. So Google Webmaster Guidelines actually say that you shouldn't hide any text, especially if it's going to be trying to manipulate Google search rankings, because it would be seen as deceptive. So there are lots of ways that people try and hide content. So sometimes they'll put it on, like, you'll have text that's got white. It's kind of is white color on a white background, or sometimes people try and hide like the text behind an image. So in short, just you should really have the content there visible for your users and for Googlebot. We're going to share the link to Google Webmaster Guidelines and what they that. So if you want to go and have a read there, you'll find out some more information.
Yeah, everyone who's watching, I'm going to go ahead and put that link in the comments for you. So if you want to check out what Sam is talking about, I've just added the link to that support article. Okay, next question here. So Adam, do you think that regularly posting on Google My Business actually helps with search rankings?
Yes, absolutely. It does in my experience, in fact. I mean, first of all, and I've kind of said this to a lot of people who ask me this sort of question, is the more you play with Google, the more Google's going to be. So, rather than posting your stuff on Facebook or places that Google doesn't own yet, play with Google, post on their systems. But the actual evidence there is recently I've been working with a real estate client, and we've actually been duplicating all of his new listings on Google My Business. And what we found is just that he's actually getting a lot of searches and a lot of photo views of the properties straight through Google My Business. So yes, it affects his rankings. Yes, it's good for his traffic. And lastly, he's actually getting leads from Google My Business, which click right through to his website. And people are saying, we saw this property on Google rather than having gone to the real estate website where he has to pay a commission. So absolutely.
There you go. Double benefits then. All right, the next one is for Sam. And that is about keyword cannibalism. So specifically in a Yoast article, so Susie Schmidt is thinking that it kind of turns the strategy upside down, as she wants to generally establish a main keyword that she wants to rank for, create solid content around it, and then post blogs. So really, what are your recommendations for building SEO specifically with content in a way that does not cause keyword cannibalism?
Okay, yeah, good question. So I'll start off with a quick summary for anybody who isn't familiar with keyword cannibalization. So this is when you have a website and then you might have lots of different pages that are covering a really similar topic, and then you find that both versions might start to rank, but they might not be ranking so well. And then something I see quite often is you might have one page that's ranking really well, and then suddenly it will drop out and might be sort of nowhere to be seen. And then another page will come in and it'll be ranking further behind. So it's basically confusing Google as to which version that they should be ranking. And the theory is that if you just have kind of one version of that, then you're really telling Google you should sing and showing the results, and that's the version that's going to get all of the authority. So it sounds like Susie's taking the hub and spoke approach. So that's where you have like a hub page, which is going to really go into a lot of detail about a topic, and you'll have probably like a primary keyword that would be like the highest volume search keyword in there, and then you would have a lot of the spoke content around it. So these are kind of supporting articles that could be blog posts and that kind of thing on a similar topic, and you might be trying to target more kind of long tail keywords in there. I think this is a really good approach, and you can do the linking between there as well naturally. So you can have your hub page that's linking naturally to your spoke pages when it mentions the kind of related content, and then equally back from your spoke pages to your hub page as well. And then that's really hopefully kind of giving Google the message that you've kind of separated your keywords, so you're not trying to rank all of these pages for one particular keyword. You've just got all the different variations there. So one example as well, if you've got a hub page, you can use your URL structure to kind of further enforce this. So you could say, let's say that you've got a hub page, which is like the word SEO, which is obviously going to be really hard to go after, but just for this example. And then, so that could be, you've got your root /SEO, and then you've got your pages, which could be on-page SEO. So SEO /SEO /on-page SEO /SEO /off-page SEO, and so on. So, and that really shows Google that, okay, here's the hub, here's the spoke, and hopefully it won't confuse things.
Solid answer, Sam.
Thank you.
All right, so next question is going to go over to you, Adam. And this is something that I think we get pretty much almost every day. So what are the top 5 things to be doing for SEO?
Okay. Right. Well, great question. I mean, I would have to start with technical SEO. And that's really, I guess, going back to the first question, what is WooRank and why use it? Well, WooRank really, really helps you with that technical SEO. Everything from making sure you have the right title descriptions, meta descriptions, and not just that you've got them, but that they're the right length and that they look good on a mobile and that they, your page loads fast. So there's lots and lots of technical factors that make it a huge difference. And it's like a death by 1,000 paper cuts. Like one of these wrong is okay, but 100 of them wrong is really bad for your website. So that's number one. Number two, I would have to say, is content. It's been said many times by different people, content is king. Make sure it's relevant, make sure that it has the right search terms in it. I think that's on par with probably the technical aspect, and that's probably one of the harder areas to look at. Third, I would have to say mobile usability. That's a huge thing. Google has made that very clear abundantly to everyone. If your website does not work well on a mobile, you're probably not even going to get a ranking in Google on a mobile. So that's really important.
Sorry about that. All right.
That's all right.
Sorry, everyone. Thank you for waiting. It seems that the great city of Brussels is doing some work on the internet around my house. So sorry about that, but it's one of the joys of A, going live, and B, working from home. So let's pick it up where we left off. When I froze, and I'm sorry for repeating, but when I froze, Adam, you were talking about your backlink profile. So can you pick that up from there? Wonderful.
Okay. So point 4, backlink profile. Really important to have a strong and healthy backlink profile. And I'm not just talking about having 1,000 links, from every different web directory service and free listing and blog that you can find. I really want to put an emphasis the quality of a backlink. Does it make sense that there's a backlink coming from one website's topic to your website? So that's really important. But we get a whole workshop on that one. And number 5. I would have to say the user experience, the design of the website. And this is where I think it's really important for SEO people and web designers who are often, can be a little combative in their relationship, actually really team up, because between the web designer creating a great user experience and the SEO guy, putting all the technical aspects in, you're going to end up with a fantastic website.
Good answer. And I like the little WooRank plug there too.
Yeah.
So we are getting some live questions in. So just to keep everyone interested and also to apologize for dipping out there, let's take a live question. So our friend Gary would like to know some tips for earning more featured snippets. Who wants to take that one?
Yes, that's a very good question. That's the question that everybody wants to answer. So obviously having the featured snippet is basically you have like a paragraph of text that tries to kind of explain whatever or say answer the search query that people are looking for. And then ideally you want to have a paragraph of text that's not going to give everything away so that you can get people to click on it as well. But Google is obviously trying to keep people on Google, so they're trying to answer things there and then. So what I would recommend is trying to kind of give a nice short description of whatever the content is on your page at the top. Try and have the first paragraph of text answering everything, so that it's kind of enough characters that can be pushed into that section at the top, and then try and have like a bit of a kind of click-through bait, let's say, just some ways to try and get people more engaged. So it could be that you're listing, they're asking about the top 5 SEO tips, and you could maybe mention 4 of them, and then the 5th one might have a bit more information in there, so that Google would have to cut it off, and then users are more likely to click through. Also, another thing is to have high quality images. So if you're including high quality images fairly near the top, you're more likely for those to appear as well, which will help your click-through rate. And also, I think Google sometimes can pull images from other websites as well, and you obviously don't want to lose the click to them. And sometimes the image can be the most enticing thing. So make sure that you've got a nice image in there. I don't know if you've got any other experience from them, Adam, as well.
No, that's really thorough.
Okay.
Yeah,
great.
Okay, and I see that there's a lot of chat going on in the chat room. Really cool that you guys are answering each other's questions. Very good discussion going on there. And we will go to live questions after some more pre-submitted ones. So Adam, I'm going to shoot this one over to you because I know that this is one of your clients, actually. So Lisa in Melbourne wants to know why her WooRank score is fluctuating. So just for some context, for anybody that maybe isn't super familiar with the WooRank platform, we analyze your website out of a 100-point scale. Sometimes your score can fluctuate by a couple different points. If something, maybe you didn't even change anything on your website, but we changed something on our end or something like that. So Adam, I'm going to put that over to you. Why is Lisa's score fluctuating?
All right. Oh, Lisa, hi if you're watching. And just for the record, and Lisa will agree with me, it's Melbourne. That's what you say it. That's all right. The whole world says Melbourne, but that's fine. No. Okay, no, fluctuating scores, it's a very good question, and a lot of my clients ask that. The first thing I want to say about the WooRank score is it's not like a one-time scoring mechanism where you run it, you're graded, and then you walk away, and that's your website set or not set. WooRank, the algorithm behind the WooRank score is actually complicated, and there's hundreds of different factors that go into it. We could ask our devs for days to give us an example of all the different things that add up to it, but it's like its own Google algorithm. So just as when Google makes a change, and there's a change just about every other week these days, you'll notice that your traffic might change, or your own search rankings will go up and down. Well, so too will the developers will update the WooRank algorithm, and you'll see that score changes. So it's not something that you should see, though, fluctuate like every other day. That's actually a great question. And if that's what's happening with Lisa's website, then I'm going to be giving her a call tomorrow and having a talk to her, because it definitely should not be fluctuating that often, but it can change.
Right. Yeah, that's a great point. And even if WooRank, this is what I tell our trial customers, even if WooRank cosmetically looks the same day in and day out, we're always kind of tinkering in the background to maybe make something more important or less important based on the new information that we have. So if you see your score fluctuate by a point or two, don't panic. If it's 10 points, maybe email support or Adam so we can take a look at it.
Definitely.
All right. So we have another question from Gary. This is one that he resubmitted, and I know that he's actually watching. So hi, Gary. And Sam, I think this one's for you.
Hey.
What advice can we give for redirects specifically when opening a new website?
Okay, so yeah, I'm assuming that he's talking about if you have a website and then you're looking to open a new website, because otherwise you wouldn't really need to worry about redirect. So the point there is that basically you've probably built up all of this value over the years on a website. And if you're moving it to a new location, you need to make sure that all of that value is also going to be passed over, and that Google knows where to find your content, and your users know how, or are redirected to the new content. So I would recommend kind of grabbing putting together a spreadsheet listing all of your current pages on the current website, so that you can then map them to the new pages on the website. Sometimes there'll be other pages that you're not really aware of that actually exist. So first you want to check in your CMS. You can also check your XML sitemap if you have one, to make sure that all of the pages are listed in there. I also sometimes look into Google Analytics, so you can find all the pages that have had any traffic over the last the last year, and then you can list those down to make sure that you've thought of everything. And then you might find also, if you're migrating to a new site, there may be some pages that you don't actually want to pull over anymore because they're out of date or no longer useful. But if they're still getting traffic, then it's still probably worthwhile redirecting those as well to a relevant page on your new site. So it's about trying to find a good match for a page to redirect there. Also, you may have other websites that are linking to content that is now no longer going to exist anymore. So you want to make sure that the value from those links is going to be pulled through, and any users that are landing on them are going to be pulled through. So basically 301 redirects, that's a permanent redirect. And then once you've done that, make sure that you update all of your internal links, so making sure they point to the resolved page, update your XML sitemap, and then obviously your robots.txt if you've got anything in there. So hopefully that's what you're talking about, because I've gone the long way around answering that. If
you
not,
got all that, Gary?
Another one. And this is recorded, so you can...
you can always come back and watch this again. But Gary does say thank you in the chat.
Great, okay.
Let's take a question, actually. So this is about the marketing checklist in our tool. So just for some context, again, for people who don't use the WooRank tool that regularly, we do have a list of tasks to give you once you start a project that are kind of the best practices to really get your site up and running. So Ebenam, and I'm really sorry if I'm butchering your names here, guys. Just is what it is. So Ebenam wants to know if it is compulsory to complete everything on the marketing checklist, especially if the tasks seem a little bit too complex.
Okay, I can answer this one if you like, Adam. Just because I've got a bit of experience with the marketing checklist. So the marketing checklist, it doesn't actually affect your WooRank score. It's kind of there as an additional help. So it's got lots of guides in there telling you all the kinds of great things that you should be doing to work on your website. And it's true that some of them are quite complex, and some of them are quite easy to tick off, while as others it might be talking more about content strategy, which obviously you can't just tick off in a day. So it's more there as guidance, and hopefully there's a lot of useful links in there to surfacing some of the content that we've written as well. But yeah, it doesn't actually the checklist, so it's just something you should work through and keep an eye on, basically.
Okay, cool, great answer. So the next one is going to go to Adam. Again, from Gary. Gary, you're the VIP of this chat today. So Gary wants to know, what are the top 5 things to do to speed up a website?
Okay. Fantastic question. This can be tricky, but the first thing I would, ask your web developer to do is ask him, is my website fully mobile responsive? And, if he says he thinks so, or yes, or probably test it. Go to Google and type in mobile responsive test, and you're going to get a tool from Google that'll actually test your site for you. It'll give it a pass, or it'll give it a not pass. So it's really black and white about that being the case. Another thing you can do is, if you this won't work if you have like a hosted website like Wix or Weebly or one of those, but if you have like a business grade server hosting, you could contact the server host and talk to them about your requirements. They can increase, they can do some techie stuff on the server, add some more memory, allow your WordPress website to use a lot more memory, which they tend to be a bit of a hog for memory. That'll actually speed up things a lot, especially if your website is on a computer or a hard drive that's got solid state drives or less websites on it, basically. That's really going to help. Sticking with the WordPress theme, I would say remove all unnecessary plugins. I have logged into a client's website and I've seen 33 plugins, 16 of them deactivated. Don't just deactivate them, uninstall them. Remove them from the server. And if you can do something without a plugin, do it. You don't need to add a plugin for every single thing. It's something you have to weigh up. Last 2 things I would say would be minify, so minification. You've probably all heard of that in one way or another. That can be as simple as grabbing the CSS code from your CSS files, taking it to a minify website, pasting it in and actually squishing it down, or you can get it done server side. Again, if you've got a professional hosting package, they can actually install stuff to do that for you. And I would have to say the big one that's overlooked all the time is those great big images on your homepage. Again, real estate. I go to a real estate website and there's this great big 4K image on the homepage, and it loads fine for me, but that's not going to load very fast on a mobile phone. It's not going to load fast for someone who's out in an area that doesn't have great internet. So Google is going to check from those places. Yeah, like tonight. So yeah, optimize your image sizes. That's probably one of the easiest ways that you guys could do it, is just check out your images, download them, squish them, get that perfect balance between quality and the size, and then re-upload it.
Adam,
so that's top 5.
I actually have a follow-up question in the chat. So first of all, just thought this was kind of funny. O1 Systems, who does attend some of these webinars with us, says this question is a presentation within itself. Performance optimization is a doozy. Yes. But then Nicholas wants to know if there's a way to manually compress assets like SVGs. So if he's using a CMS where he doesn't have access to change anything server side, is there a way to manually do this?
Yeah, there are, and I would. I know I just said don't use WordPress plugins, but there are WordPress plugins that will do a lot of minification and compressing for you. However, when it comes to images, I'm a big fan of doing that manually. Especially for the homepage or your core pages, it doesn't take that long to sort of resize manually in a simple graphics program or in Photoshop if you prefer, and you'll be surprised that you can get a 2 meg image down to about 700 kilobytes and be about 80% of the quality, still, and it'll still look fantastic, but you're saving 2 or 3 times the speed. So plugins will do it for you, but even better, old school, download it, squish it.
All right, good. I think we cut this, as best as we probably can in the time allotted. So the next one, Sam, is from Teresa. Teresa wants to know if adding alt text is actually even important for SEO.
Okay, yeah, sure. So back to the image topic again. So alt text is, for anybody who doesn't know, is like the a way of describing an image, and it's added in the code, so a user wouldn't see it unless the image didn't load. And also they're useful as well for people that are using screen readers. So they are important. Basically, search engines find that they have a hard time of actually understanding the content of an image, and although they're probably getting better at it these days, there's a lot you can do to provide kind of hints as to what the image is about. And the kind of advantage of that is if somebody's searching for a particular keyword, especially an image search, and your image appears, then they're more likely to click it, so you're more likely to get more traffic. And I think a lot of people don't check the amount of traffic they're getting from images, and people will be often surprised that they do send quite a lot of traffic. And especially nowadays, Google's kind of starting to experiment more with the search results, so you're no longer just seeing the 10 blue links that you used to see. So you quite often get the image pack results showing at the top, and that's where you get you could have one of your images, somebody might click on that. And also in mobile, they're using images so much more, so just giving everything you can to help them to understand what the image is about will really help. When it comes to the actual content of the alt attribute, it makes sense to try and use the keywords that you're targeting on a particular page that they appear on without being too spammy. So you don't want to go ahead and just write a load of keywords in there, because Google's clever enough to realize what you're up to. So, try and describe the image, and if you're able to include a keyword in there, then great, because it just further enforces or reinforces that you've got content that's about this topic. So yeah, hopefully that answers your question.
Great. Teresa has a follow-up question.
Sure.
That I'm going to add over to Adam. I think that this is one that we get almost as much as what can I do for my SEO. How does Teresa get backlinks? How do you get backlinks?
Okay.
It's the whopper of a question, but I feel confident that you can handle it.
Okay, how do you get backlinks in a nutshell? Well, there are a lot of ways. Again, I mentioned it earlier, but it's really important here to focus on the relevancy and the quality of a backlink rather than the quantity. Yeah, the days are gone where a massive links was all that you needed. So the way I would go about getting some rich, really nice, juicy backlinks for my clients would be to, first of all, if they're publishing content, like I said, my real estate client or any of my other clients, I would share that on Google My Business. The reason is that when this content shows up on Google and it's clicked, that's a backlink. So backlinks are more than just a piece of text with a hyperlink from one page that's static to another page that's static. Links are dynamic and living. So Google will give more value to a link that spontaneously appears in a search result that is clicked, and then someone follows that through to a website. And that comes from great content. Also, the featured snippets and sponsored SERP results that Sam mentioned, when they're clicked, again, it goes straight through to the website. That is a live link that's created on the fly. And that's one that you didn't have to actually create yourself. Google actually creates it for you. So the other thing is business directories. It comes up a lot, and I'll just touch on that. Yes, it's good to have a listing on business directories. However, don't copy and paste your about page on all of them. Don't, because all you're doing is having 50 pages of content out there that all have your about page content. And I'll guarantee you that their pages rank higher than yours because they'll have a higher domain authority. So mix it up. If you're going to post on something like Yelp, write a new description for your business there. It only takes 2 or 3 minutes. Then you go across to Google My Business, write a different type of description, use unique content. They can then actually help quite a bit, especially when the yellow pages or white pages comes up in search. Someone clicks on it, they go to the website and then click through to your site. Look, that's another great way to get links. And finally, be on the lookout for toxic links. So these are links from bad websites, illegal websites, violence, drugs, that kind of thing. You want to have nothing of it. Keep an eye on Search Console. Keep an eye on the links that you're attracting to your website. And if need be, you might be going down the path of getting those links removed. But that's probably a question for another day.
Yeah, we could, just like optimization, speed optimization, we could probably do a whole
Yeah.
whole webinar about backlinks. Now, I do have a follow-up question for you, Sam, about the alt text that seemed to spark a lot of conversation in the chat. So Ebanom wants to know, regarding alt text, is it okay to repeat the title of their blog post or the title page to describe exactly what's on the image, or is that not what you should be doing?
Yeah, I mean, so yeah, I guess in some cases people have got so many images that it's hard to try and keep control and add an alt text to every one of them. So some might find like a a system that will populate those without them having to put too much work in. Just basically, as long as it kind of makes sense. So if it's the title of the blog post, then yeah, it kind of can make sense. So that's fine. Just don't, if you've got more than one image, don't just keep repeating that through in each image, because it won't really make sense. And if you can kind of, maybe if you're going to do it, if you have a system that's doing it automatically, just try and check some of them just to be sure that if you were to see this image, it would kind of make sense that it's about this particular topic. The content kind of makes sense and matches.
Mm-hmm. Sure. I have another question coming in from the live chat. You guys are so chatty today. I love it. So Isle Daily News wants to know how important an established website is in Google rankings. So like how big of a difference is a 5-month-old website compared to maybe a 5-year-old website?
Yeah, I mean, I can start with that if you want. I suppose if it's like there's often been this myth around domain age having, having an actual or affecting your SEO rankings. I think it's less about the age of your domain and more about how long it's been around for, how many, like if people have been talking about it, for the last 5 years, you've got links there that have been growing naturally over time, then obviously you're established than a brand new website that's only just come out, because nobody really knows about that yet. So it's going to have some clout that if you've been around for a while. But equally, if you've got great content in there and you're able to get it out there to the right places, I've seen some sites that kind of appear, and then within a few months they're already getting well established and building up quite a lot of traffic. So it depends on what promotion is being kind of put behind it, I guess. I don't know if you've got anything to add to that, Adam.
Yeah, just one thing. Sometimes I agree with everything you said, and I would also add that it's almost like a lease on a building as a business. One thing I advise new clients all the time is I say, when you buy your domain name for your new website, because you're competing against existing websites, buy the domain for 5 years, commit to it. Google checks that. And if you think Google doesn't know how to check it or why it wouldn't check it, it's how committed are you to actually that website. If you only buy a domain for a year, because you only want to spend $20 and get the cheapest domain, Google actually, that goes into the algorithm and it takes a note. You buy a domain for 5 years or even 10 years, it's like when a business sets up and you know that they got a 10-year lease. They're going to be around for the long run. At least they're going to try and make it work. So yeah, that's all I would add to that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, just to add to that as well, you do get so many websites out there that people are, spamming the web. So they buy a domain and they're not expecting it to last long. They're just trying to make some money out of it really quickly, and then Google will wipe it out, and then they'll go another one, and they might have hundreds or thousands of these domains doing things they probably shouldn't be. So at least, yeah, if you're just buying it for a short period of time, that might be kind of a red flag to Google as well.
Good answers, guys. You're so passionate about SEO. I love it. Okay, so the next question is coming from Gavin. Gavin is saying that when looking at a standard SEO checklist, they check all of the boxes, but somehow they are ranking lower than their competitors. Gavin wants to know, why is this happening?
That's a common one. I would say content. You'll probably get that takeaway from me. I'm a big content person. I really split SEO right down the middle, technical on side and content. I will sometimes find that a client does come to me and they say, "Hey, we've hired someone and we've done SEO and we've got a really good score, but we're still ranking lower than 3 or 4 of our major competitors, and they got really old websites and they don't look so good." But what it comes down to it is, it might not look so good, but it runs fast. answers the questions that people are looking for. It has relevant content. So what you should be doing is not only comparing your technical score with your competitors, because absolutely you want to outscore them, but compare your content. Have a look at how they structure their content. If they're selling the exact same product as you, have a look at how they structured it. Even like Sam mentioned before, the hub and spoke method. Have they set up their plumbing services on separate pages, or do they just have a single page with all the plumbing services on it? Have a look what your competitors are doing. Usually, I say with SEO, the answer is hidden in plain sight.
So that is it for all of the pre-submitted questions. I'm just going to shoot you guys rapid fire a couple of our live questions that we got throughout the webinar. Mindful Surrey has a question that I think is perfect for both of you because you're my Google Analytics experts. So Mindful Surrey wants to know how to get help with Google Analytics because their support is only for businesses who have purchased products and their online help resources are not being so helpful for her. What do you think she could do?
I'll start with that one. Something I've done over the years is they have like an online, you can do the Google Analytics training, and it basically really opens your eyes as to everything that's possible with Google Analytics. And it doesn't take too long, and it's quite nicely set out, so you can just kind of take the course at your own speed. And yeah, it's just really good resource, and it's free. They used to give you like a certification at the end of it. I'm not sure if that's still the case or not, but it's definitely something that's worth doing, and just to fill in all the gaps. So yeah, I recommend heading over there.
Mm-hmm.
Great answer. Yeah.
We can put a link into the chat. I'll try and dig it out, and we can share that.
Yeah, it's. I took the course, but even after taking the course, definitely think that it's still really complicated. So if you do need extra help, you can always sync up your Google Analytics account into WooRank, and WooRank kind of cherry picks the super relevant information that you need to know. So how your users are behaving, how many pages they're visiting when they come to you, how long are they spending on your site. So if you're not so comfortable with navigating Google Analytics, WooRank will kind of dilute it for you and deliver the most relevant information. So we have another question from Mantra Yoga and Meditation School. So the question is, does domain name similar to the keyword still work? So the domain name is 4 years old, but doesn't rank. So they decided to go for a keyword-based domain name instead.
Okay. That is extremely common. We're also running out of domain names. You probably noticed when you went to buy that. Look, there's a short and a long answer to all of these questions. The short answer is, does it have an effect? Yes, but it's like that death by 1,000 paper cuts again. If you've got a keyword in your domain name, sure, that helps a little bit, but not so much that a better website with better content, better layout, faster loading images wouldn't have over it. It's always a balance. There's no one sort of factor that can totally destroy a website, probably other than it simply not loading, of course. I can see why you changed the name, and a lot of people do that. I will say that a web design company will make that recommendation, and you've got to sort of weigh that on its own merits. Do you really want to change your website? So it's not insurmountable. You can definitely get more value from restructuring your existing website without having to go down that path. But it's also a valid way of doing it. So it's a win-win. It can be.
Okay, so I'm just scrolling through to see if there are any questions that we could answer quickly that we didn't already get to. Okay, so Simeon. Go ahead. Go for it. I was
going to say I did see there was one about setting up Google Analytics in Wix. That was from Mindful Surrey.
Yes, let me go ahead and share that onto the screen. Go ahead.
So basically, the problem was that her analytics had stopped working, and she was trying to find like a global tag that she could use for a Wix website. So it really depends on whether she's using her own domain with Wix or if she's using a free Wix site. So I know that Where will allow it if you're using your own domain, but if you're using your own domain, then it should be fairly simple. You can just head over to the marketing integrations section of the Wix, and they've actually got a Google Analytics section in there, so you just have to click that in there. and then you add your Google Analytics ID, which you can pull over from your Google Analytics account. So should be fairly straightforward, but if you don't have your own domain, then it might be an issue.
Yep.
Okay. So I have one from Jared, which is really targeted to you guys. So Jared Cross wanted to know, with Google constantly manipulating paid search to appear more like organic results and competitive keywords usually appearing well below the fold, how are SEO specialists adapting to this change?
Good one. Yeah, I mean, that's it's true that, so I mean, there was a video, actually, it's quite funny. There's a video that Matt Cutts, he was the SEO kind of guy at WooRank back in the day. And he was talking a lot. No, sorry, not at WooRank. Yeah,
we wish.
No, sorry, he was at Google. He was working at Google, yeah. And he posted the video about how search works. And he was basically sorry, I've just initiated my Google Home from over there. Anyway, so he was talking about how they really try to make sure that their results are kept separately, so you can really see the difference between the paid results and the organic results. But obviously, if you look at that video now, you can laugh to yourself because it's not the case anymore. So one of the ways that you can try and obviously push yourself up a bit more is using the SERP features. So as we mentioned a bit earlier about featured snippets, if you're able to get a featured snippet, then it's likely that will appear right at the top. Sometimes it can appear even before the ads, depending on the search query. Also getting in places like the people also ask results as well. And then, any other kind of featured snippet that's available. With WooRank, we have the keyword tool, and you can actually track your rankings, but it also shows you what featured snippets appear for that search result, and also which ones that you or your competitors might have already got. So it gives you a nice idea about, where you're already appearing, but how you can maybe try and push your content to get in there and get above the paid results, or at least get some more exposure.
Great answer. Adam, anything you want to add?
Yeah. No, that was perfect. We'll not...
Okay, we're going to take one last question before we say adios. And this is again from IL Daily News. How should they effectively be using Google Search Console to improve their website?
Well, check it out because they've actually just updated it. There's been a huge improvement to Google Search Console over the last couple of years. A concerted effort by Google. It used to be a very different tool going back 5 years or going back 10 years, the old Webmaster Suite. Now it's actually become really useful. If you go into it, you can now look at things. I guess it's, first of all, the main difference between it and analytics is about traffic and what the traffic is doing on your website. Search Console is more about the technical side, where your backlinks are coming from, how fast is your page loading. So it's actually similar in a way to some of the information we have on WooRank, and that's what I would be using Search Console for, is more of a technical analysis, testing pages, that kind of thing. But when you, with WooRank, you actually hook up to Analytics and Search Console, and WooRank can talk to them both for you and then present that information in a single page. So that's how I'd be using Search Console, is with WooRank.
Always with the WooRank plug. It's
yeah.
Making my job so easy. Okay, Sam, do you want to add anything to that, or is that?
Well, just to add also, I mean, they've got like a report in there that shows you exactly what keywords that people were using to see your website. So whether it triggered an impression, so whether your page appeared within the results, whether or not they clicked it or not, and whether people actually clicked it, and then what the click-through rate is, so the rate at which people are actually, when they see your ad, are they clicking it or not. So there's really a lot of great information in there. A good thing about this report as well is that, from my understanding, if people are using an ad block tool, you'll still see the data in Google Search Console, whereas within Google Analytics, it's not included in there. So that's another little benefit of that. And then you can do things like submit your XML sitemap via Google Search Console to make sure that they're finding all your pages. And then you can check to make sure that they are actually indexing the pages you're sending to them. And if they're not, why not? So there's a lot of really, I just recommend just clicking through all the different tabs and seeing what's available, because there's a lot of great stuff in there.
Awesome. Okay, so that's, I think, going to do it for us today. All of the pre-submitted questions and as many of the live questions that we could take. So just want to thank you guys, Sam, Adam, for sharing your expertise with us. It's always so fun to get to actually see you and chat with you about SEO. Now, I'm sorry that if we didn't get to your questions, but I also want to thank you all for being so super engaged today in the chat, answering each other's questions, giving us some live questions, keeping them on their feet. So if you have more questions, I'm just going to add this to the chat. You can email me, Courtney@WooRank.com, and we'll try to add them to next month's broadcast because we will be doing this every month. Or we can try to answer them for you. If you email me, I'll pick these guys' brains and just send you the answer. Other option is following the hashtag AskWooRank on Twitter. We will be answering the questions on Twitter throughout the month that you're submitting. And if you have another question, just use that hashtag and we'll get you answered as soon as possible. So thank you guys again, and we will see you again next month.
Thank you, guys. Cheers.
Thanks
Bye.
for watching.
Thanks.